right, so our next style is the IPA, which I think is probably the most popular style of craft beer going on.
Yeah, definitely.
So there are so many we could choose from just in Connecticut.
Right.
We had a hard time picking out what we were going to show.
Yeah, it was a tough choice.
Counterweight, of course, was a contender.
Yes.
With their Headway IPA and all their
Yeah.
others. There are great IPAs in Connecticut. But this one has been around a long time, and this is New England Brewing Company's Hag IPA. This is their flagship IPA. And we should just talk about what an IPA is.
Yeah, please. Just let us know what it is.
It's an ale, just like the last beer we did, which was a wheat beer. It was done with ale yeast. So it's an ale. It's basically a pale ale that is much hoppier and a little more alcohol. So this one comes in at 6.2 ABV, so it's not heavy, but it's the hoppy aroma and the hoppy taste and the bitterness from the hops that makes it an IPA.
Okay.
So IPA, of course, stands for India Pale Ale. The legend is, and I'm not sure how true this is, but the legend is that when English brewers were shipping ale on their trade ships to India, it was such a long trip that the beer would go bad.
Okay.
So hops work as a preservative.
Right.
So they would just put a ton of hops in the beer,
right,
and it would keep it fresher longer. But of course, it was more bitter, and it had but then people got used to that style and kind of liked it, and it became a style. Now people are saying like that's not the true story.
Yeah, I like that story.
I don't know, but I like it.
We're gonna stick to that story.
Yeah. So tasting notes on this can say they use a blend of 3 different malts. They don't say which ones, but they do say that this has Columbus, Centennial, Amarillo, and Citra hops. And Billy and I were talking about this. Some of the IPAs that I've brewed myself, I've made with Citra and Amarillo hops, and I've used bittering Centennial and sometimes Columbus. I kind of gravitate towards that taste and aroma from Citra, which gives you kind of, it's called Citra because it's got citrus overtones.
Yeah.
And Amarillo also has some citrus, but slightly different kind of peachy kind of taste. So that's why this is one of my favorite IPAs, and I can find it in the stores around here all the time.
Yeah, and that's one of the key things. Like if you can find this in the store, more than obviously other ones, it'll be a good one to gravitate to a little bit more. So let's pop it open.
And I love their slogan: "Drink it, it's good."
We'll find out.
Yeah. Well, I know this one's good. I've had way too many of these in my lifetime.
So now the color on this, looking for a little more cloudiness on this?
Probably not. These can be real clean, although if it's a lot of dry hopping, they don't say that it's dry hopped, but the aroma will kind of tell you that it's probably got some dry hops. You
shortchanged yourself on that one, man.
That's all right. I know. Oh my God.
Yeah. All right.
Smell that.
Color is nice. Nice color to it. Oh yeah.
It's fruit.
You can smell that.
Yeah.
Right away.
It's like citrus.
Yeah, you can smell that citrus.
It's kind of a danky kind of citrus smell to it.
It smells good.
I'll tell you, as soon as I smell this, I want to taste it.
Oh yeah, no, that's an IPA.
And it's really balanced too,
really
because it's got that fruity smell, but it's got some bitterness.
It's definitely got some bitter to it.
Yeah.
Yep. When you're drinking it. Yeah. So if you've never had an IPA, and you grab the Hag, you're gonna get that bitterness. Is that part of like the IPA?
Yeah, it's to balance out the sweetness of the malts.
Okay.
So to get the IPAs up to a higher alcohol level, you have to put more malt in, and of course then you end up with more sugar. And sometimes it doesn't all get fermented, so you get this sweetness from the malt.
Right.
And so you balance it out with the bittering hops, and it makes for a well-balanced beer. Yeah. This is a really balanced beer. I love it.
This is very good.
I could just smell it all day.
So I would say, like, if you've never had IPA and you want to try IPA, this is definitely
a good example.
One to start with. Grab the Hag IPA, start with this one. It might be a little different from, some of the other ones we had gone through, which are, a little lighter. This one you're gonna taste that bitterness, of those hops.
I think of the 3 beers we've we've looked at so far today, this has the most alcohol in it at 6.2%.
Yeah.
But it's still not crazy heavy. You know? You can still probably drink a 6-pack of this sitting in the backyard. Well, 2 or 3 maybe.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Depends on what kind of week. If it's a 3-day weekend. Depends if Party Doug's going to come out.
Yeah, if Party Doug's around, then yes, it's going to be a 6-pack. But this is really good, guys. So again, IPA, Sea Hag. If you never had an IPA, definitely recommend the Sea Hag. You know, to kind of like start with. You know, it's got a great balance, just like Doug said. Definitely try it.
The smell makes me think of summer.